Nigeria's President Buhari has of recent been conducting a lot of state functions, the most prominent of which is the retirement of one set of service chiefs and their immediate replacement by another set. However, the president has also wasted no time in taking steps to get the retired military chiefs involved again. Yesterday, a statement from the presidency stated that President Buhari has forwarded the names of the former set of service chiefs to the Senate for screening and confirmation as non-career ambassadors. Joining us now to look at just how these presidential decisions sit with the law and the Constitution is Liborous Oshoma, a lawyer and head attorney in Liborous Oshoma Chambers. Welcome to the program, Liborous. Good to see you again. Happy New Year.
Good morning. Happy New Year, Doctor.
Yes. Well, quickly, in appointing the former service chiefs as non-career ambassadors nominee with a request for expeditious consideration by the Senate, as the president of Nigeria acted ultra vires. The issues here, are they issues of law, constitutionality, or perhaps morality and sentiments?
The issues here are not issues of law. The president has not acted ultra vires the Constitution. He has not acted outside the powers donated to him by the Constitution to appoint ambassadors to represent him. And like you said, he is the chief ambassador, the chief image maker of the country. And so he has the right to appoint whoever he deems fit. But for me, it's a big moral burden. That's where the problem is. We agree that in some cases you want to appoint non-career ambassadors, but the issue here is the service chiefs just left office not up to 2 weeks now. And then the next thing is these people left office with overwhelming criticism, and coupled with the fact that even members of his party browbeated, or I wouldn't want to use the word browbeated, were so vociferous in criticizing the...
Liborous, sorry to interrupt you. Let's take a quick break, commercial break, and then we'll come back. The conversation will continue. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Still with us is Liborous Oshoma, lawyer and head attorney, Liborous Oshoma Chambers. Liborous, you were talking about how the appointment of the recommendation of the ex-service chiefs as non-career ambassadors is unconscionable, even if it is within the purview of the law.
Yes, I said that even the members of the president's political party, including majority of his supporters, were vociferous in ensuring that the ex-service chiefs, were relieved of their duties as a result of non-performance. And immediately, not up to a month thereafter, for a country that needs a good image abroad, as we speak now, our image world over is not the best. It's not what you would even want to discuss. For a country that needs an image, if you want to use the word launder, that needs its image to be laundered abroad or needs professionals abroad, the best we could do is to appoint people whose tenure in office have a lot of question mark, or who has question hanging over their tenure in office as non-career ambassador. For me, it's a big moral burden. It is insensitive on the part of Mr. President. It shows clearly that the president does not really, either gauge the feeling of the populace, or even if he does not care, what the public thinks of him. Because if you also want to argue that he probably would want to protect them against prosecution from International Criminal Court, that is also neither here nor there, because it will take the collaboration or the cooperation of the Nigerian government to hand them over for prosecution. That's on one side. And then secondly, we're looking at Even if you want to appoint anybody as service chiefs, these are people who have just been retired as a result of non-performance. Are they the best hands now? You also demoralize your career diplomats. You have a lot of people you have trained, you have invested in for this job, and the best you could do is appoint people who everybody agreed, though they perform, but didn't give their best to the country and to go continue, in foreign missions.
Well, Liborous, I know that Adesua is waiting with a sharp question, but the president did not sack them for non-performance. It's Nigerians talking about non-performance, right?
Yes.
So I think we need to get that straight.
Yes, I agree with you.
And then secondly, security being a major issue.
Yes.
For Nigeria. Well, if you look at it from another angle, does it not make sense for the president to say, well, these security chiefs who have served me, I want to send them out there and maybe send them to locations where they can help look for international cooperation. I mean, only last week, the president was talking about international cooperation. On the issues of terrorism, national security, and all that. Who is in the best position to do that other than persons, mandarins from the security sector?
This is a hydra-headed question. I will take the last one first. Talking about cooperation, the first thing you would ask, what is the image of these persons in terms of relationship with the international community? Even the International Criminal Court did say that there were human rights abuses in Nigeria. And so if you're talking about the military committing human rights abuses, who are the people that will likely be culpable? These same people that you're sending to go look for international cooperation in terms of military security. And then secondly, on the issue of insecurity, what was the security situation in Nigeria when these people were appointed? And what is the security situation today? You can say, it's very convenient to say that in the Northeast, that Boko Haram occupied territories in the Northeast before they were appointed, and that as the time they left, Boko Haram were no longer occupying territories. I also say that answer is neither here nor there, because we also know it is reliable, it is in the media, it's everywhere, that farmers, even in the Northeast, pay royalties to bandits to be able to access their farms. And what is the state of general insecurity in Nigeria today? It is worse than it was before. And so, if you gauge the mood of the people generally, would you say, in all honesty, that these people have performed exceedingly well, that you now want to compensate them with international positions to go look for international cooperation in terms of providing security? The answer is a no also. And that's why I think that if you feel that they have performed, about your people, the people you are representing, mind you, the president is a representative of the people. And if the people feel that this few that you said have performed, including your party members, feels that they have not performed, why should you? You can't be right and 80% of your population wrong. So that's the question here. That's why I said, yes, the president has a constitutional power to appoint whoever he wants to appoint, but it's a moral burden, and he should have also gauge the mood of the generality of the people, including his party, and the generality of Nigerians, before making such appointment. It showed there are sinister moves. It also shows that what you need to be compensated in Nigeria is non-performance. Once you refuse to perform, you can be compensated in this government. That's the only thing that the president is saying with this, including the extension of the office of the tenure of the IG.
Well, before we get to the extension of the tenure of the IG, I guess you partly answered my next question to hazard a guess and make a sense of why the president will nominate this quartet, this controversial quartet. But what are your expectations from the Senate on this matter? Do you foresee any objections to the president's request, as is expecting expeditious hearing?
With the current Senate president, he has not shown through his body language, including his actions and inactions, that the Senate is a rubber stamp of the executive. He has even said it at some point that, Nigerians expect them to disagree with the executive, and that they will not pander to the whims and caprices of what Nigerians expect them to do. and that also their actions, anything that the executive brings, they agree with the executive. This is the same Senate that had consistently criticized the retention of the service chiefs as heading the military, despite consistent failure. But I can tell you that when they get there, you'll be shocked that they'll be asked to take a bow and go, having served the nation meritoriously. That's the kind of National Assembly that we have. So I do not expect anything new. I already presume that the nominees have been cleared by the Senate. Every other thing that the Senate would do would just be a rubber stamp and formality. I don't expect anything new. Right,
Liborous. Taking your words now, you said that this is an indication of something, sinister, because there have been divergent views across board, as regards this. There's a case of the ICC, as we said before. There's a moral trust to this, how it's going to be perceived and the likes, and conversations back and forth. And let's not also forget that the talk about the chief prosecutor of the ICC coming out strongly and saying, you know what, I will investigate and look at this. That's speaking of Fatih Bensouda. But you said this is a sinister plot. Can you take us through what you mean by that, and how sinister is this? And what does this even show to our foreign partners out there in Nigeria? Because they are reading this matter. They are watching what is happening. Take, for instance, one of our foreign partners was really aware. One of the dramatis personae in all of the NSAS saga had a time in the Canadian Parliament, for instance, and we saw all that went. There was a debate about this in the British Parliament. So what is this saying?
What this clearly shows, first and foremost, the issue of cloaking them with diplomatic immunity to avoid prosecution, if need be, by the International Court of Justice, International Criminal Court. Another thing we should also, I laugh sometimes when we look at all of this issue. The sinister point I refer to is the fact that no matter how we have looked at it, President Buhari has, a clique that is loyal to, irrespective of what Nigeria or anybody thinks. He has a clique that is loyal to, and whether those persons perform or not, President Buhari will compensate them, and he will insist on compensating them. That's on one side. Then secondly, it is also very convenient for people to refer to America, to say in America, Americans hardly, submit their soldiers to for trial at the International Criminal Court. But there are internal mechanisms in America to subject some of their soldiers that have committed war crimes to internal prosecution, even within the military. And also, if you look at Nigeria, what are internal mechanisms for subjecting our high officers that have committed, crimes against humanity to trial? None at all. And what is our mechanism also to ensure professionalism in the military, in as far as security is concerned? The answer is also, there's nothing. So that's why it's always very easy for the big police, the International Criminal Court, to come and want to police you. But when you have internal mechanisms, look at the NSAS issues that you talked about. It took our foreign partners, the parliament in UK, to debate this issue, the Canadian Parliament. But what did our National Assembly do about it? Nothing. Initially, the military said they were not at the toll gate, only for them to capitulate later to say yes, they were invited by the governor. The answer is, does the governor have the power to invite the military into a civil action? And so when you look at all of this issue, because we do not have internal mechanism for subjecting people who have committed crime against humanity to trial, so a bigger brother would want to. That's why we always cry to international community to come to our aid. And what the president is doing, or has clearly done now, if at all there was going to be any, peep into those activities, is to say, I endorse wholeheartedly every crime they might have committed in the course of executing their duties.
Well, Liborous, you're absolutely correct. I mean, international law considers diplomatic immunity as customary law, but at the same time, it imposes obligations on states to also check their own people, even if there are jurisdictional rules with regard to crimes against humanity. However, I think we'd like you to comment quickly, very briefly, on the extension of the tenure of the Inspector General of Police by 3 months. We have just a minute left.
Sorry, quickly. The question would be, please permit me 2 minutes. The question would be...
You want to take over the program?
No. Do we have an Inspector General as we speak now? The answer is a no. Where we agree that by virtue of Section 215 and 2162 of the Constitution, the President has powers to appoint Inspector General of Police subject to consultation with the National Police Council. But if you look at Section 7.3 of the Police Act, Section 7.3 says the IG of Police shall be appointed by the President on the advice of the Police Council. And then subsection 6 says it shall serve for a term of 4 years subject to Clause 8.8 of that same act. And Clause 8.8 of that same act says pegged retirement age at 60 or 35 years in service. And the question now is, has the IG retired? Subject to Section 8.8 of the Police Act. Yes, he has retired. Can his tenure be renewed, having retired? The answer is a no. And then some people have referred to Section 11(1)(e) of the Interpretation Act that states that the man that has the power to appoint also have power to reinstate and reappoint. But they forget that these powers in Section 11 are subject to limitation and conditions of any limitations prescribed in the act that is empowering such appointment. So the act empowering such appointment says you shall serve for 60 years or 35 years, whichever comes earlier. And there is no provision in anywhere in the Police Act, even though it says you shall serve for 4 years, but that 4 years is limited by the fact that you must be within 35 years in service or 60 years of age, as the case may be.
Well, point well made, but Okpara has gone to court, Maxwell Okpara has gone to court to seek an interpretation, and we would like to see what the court says. Thank you very much, Liborous Oshoma.